It is my pleasure now to introduce LeVar Haffney, who has been a critical part of PIDC offering these webinars, getting this critical information to you. We have now had the pleasure of working with LeVar for at least, I don't know, about a year and a half now. And we are happy that we have been able to identify a subject matter expert who is bringing you high quality expert information that you can take immediately, start to implement it into your business. He's going to explain some things that may have been confusing for you, or some things you thought you knew, but maybe they are reaffirming some things you knew, or maybe some things you knew, but not quite had all the information. So with that, we are ready to start. It is 5:34. We are scheduled to go until 7 o'clock tonight. And so LeVar Haffney, take it away.
Thank you, Marla. Really appreciate the introduction. Let me see here. And I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their busy schedule to join us today. Let's see here. And I'd like to welcome you. Today, we're going to discuss sustainable growth, positioning your firm for the future. If you've attended the previous webinars in this neighborhood series, this is the finale, and this is going to tie things together. Once you've implemented cash flow optimization, once you've incorporated some of the tips and strategies from last night's webinar, and you can certainly incorporate additional tips and strategies from this evening's webinar, and it's going to put you on a path to sustainable growth. So what we'll cover tonight, what is sustainable growth? What does that mean for you and your business? Why is it important during this time? We're operating in uncertain times. What can we do to pivot to make our business a lot more resilient so that we can emerge on the other side of the pandemic as a stronger business and as a more sophisticated business owner? We'll discuss developing your management skills. Which skills do you need to acquire so that you can lead your organization going forward? Professionalizing your business. Oftentimes, as a small business owner, we may not be taken seriously, whether it's from service providers or financial intermediaries or other professionals in the marketplace. They think just because we're small, we're unsophisticated. It's not the case, but I'll give you some tips to allow you to professionalize your business. Establish an advisory board. It's very important that we no longer operate on our own. We need to lean on other professionals so that we can leverage their skills, their talent, and their network. And we'll also discuss finding your community. During these uncertain times, we want to surround ourselves with business owners who can relate to our experiences, and we want to also leverage their networks and provide them with some of the expertise and the experiences that we have so that they can continue to operate. We'll also discuss succession planning. What are you going to do at the end of the road? Because all of us are going to leave our business voluntarily or involuntarily, but you want to do so with a strategy in place so that your employees, your customers, your vendors, and all your other stakeholders are not surprised. Finally, we'll discuss strategies and tips that you can incorporate immediately. We'll have Q&A at the end, and we'll also share some resources. Please feel free, as Marla said, to drop your questions in the chat box, and we'll get to them throughout the duration of the webinar. So with that said, we'll jump right in. What is sustainable growth? Sustainable growth is defined as the amount a business can grow without borrowing any money. So how can the business put itself in a position to be self-supportive and self-sufficient? Sustainable growth is all about communicating your value proposition to your ideal customers. Sustainable growth is about fostering repeat customers. It's very difficult and very expensive to generate new customers. What you want to do is continue to service your existing customers by providing additional goods and/or services that they can continue to consume, and it will allow you to generate more revenue at a lower cost over time. And sustainable growth is about constantly measuring your growth. Where are you today compared to where you were last year? And where would you like to be next year? By measuring your growth, you'll understand what you need to do right away to continue to thrive or correct your course of action so that you can reach your desired goal and outcome. We'll start with growing without money. During one of yesterday, we had a question from a participant about obtaining financing during these times. As many of you know, a lot of small businesses have experienced a cash flow crunch. Some individuals are using personal savings to prop up their business. Others are obtaining financing from their lending institutions. Others are using credit cards. What you really want to limit or minimize is borrowing at this time. If you have the capacity to use any cash reserves that are in the business to continue to grow, to continue to service your customers, you're going to create a better outcome for you. Depending on your particular business and your industry, that may or may not be viable. What you also always want to do is have a conversation with your accountant and or your business advisor so that they can provide you with guidance on which action to take. You want to examine and reinvest your cash flow. If you are continuing to do business with the same amount of customers that you had prior to the pandemic, that's fantastic. What we don't want to do is spend unnecessary money. We don't want to negatively impact our cash flow, and we want to reinvest that cash flow, that existing cash flow, to create new cash flow. At this time, you want to accelerate your income. What does that mean? That means accelerating the time that it takes from you making a sale to you receiving your money or receiving your cash. Some of us are providing terms for our customers, whether you're offering net 30 or net 60. If you can find a way to reduce the time that it takes for you to get paid, it's going to put you in a better cash position. You also want to decelerate your cash flow. And what that means is that you want to lengthen the amount of time that it takes for you to pay your suppliers and vendors. I know it may sound counterintuitive. We want to get paid faster, but we want to take a little bit longer to pay our vendors, but that is going to put you in the best cash position as possible. Extend your payments to your vendors and suppliers. Reduce the amount of time it takes for you to get paid by your customers. That's the name of the cash flow game. And you want to also explore non-debt financial solutions. Again, if you can avoid obtaining additional financing at this time, or using credit cards or your savings to prop up the business, please explore those solutions. One such solution is factoring. Now, what factoring is there are many companies that will buy your receivables. So if you have terms with your customers, net 30 or net 60, a factoring company will come in and say, hey, we'll pay you 70 to 85 cents on the dollar for your receivables today. And as we know, cash today in hand is much more, is worth much more than cash received 30 to 60 days from now. So if you've built in that differential, say that 30 to 15% differential, that discount that a factoring company may want to shave off the top of your receivable, and you built that into your pricing, factoring can certainly be a viable solution as a non-cash option for you to generate generate income faster than if you decided to wait for your customer to satisfy those particular terms. So that's just something to keep in mind. Next, you want to communicate your value proposition. And I know many of you have done a fantastic job with your marketing. Unfortunately, we're living in uncertain times, and a lot of our customers have short memories. So it's very important for us to define the core elements of value to potential and existing customers. We want to affirm them that we are continuing to provide goods and services to them. We're providing fantastic service, quality products, and we are going to be here for the long term. But you also want to assure them that our product or service is going to make their life easier, better. It's going to help them save time or save money. Make sure you are honing in on what your unique value proposition is, and you're continuously communicating that to the marketplace. You want to define who is your target buyer. Now, before the pandemic, we probably knew exactly who our buyer was. That buyer has probably changed. They may have evolved into someone else or something else. They may have pivoted. If you're in B2B sales or business to business, your business customer may have pivoted and they may be selling something else. If they were in retail before, they may have pivoted. They may have started to manufacture masks or something else. So if you're having conversations with your customer or your previous customer, find out if they still fit that particular target buyer demographic. If not, redefine exactly who you need to sell to. If you were selling to restaurants or if you were selling to hospitality-based businesses, they've really been negatively impacted. Find out how you can pivot and serve a different kind of customer. The what product or service are you offering to that buyer? What you were selling before the pandemic may not be exactly what's demanded right now. Find out exactly what your ideal clients need, want, and are willing to pay top dollar for. And why? Why is your offering uniquely valuable to the buyer? What differentiates you from other businesses in this particular marketplace? Are you cheaper? Are you providing the product faster? Are you offering better quality? Are you offering a variety of different options? Find out what makes your particular good or service unique and make sure that you're communicating that to the marketplace. What we want to do is foster repeat customers. Again, if you have an existing customer who's willing to spend money with you, it's much easier for you to ask them what they want, ask them what their what their problems are and how you can solve them. It's easier to sell to repeat customers. It's a lot harder, especially now, to go into the marketplace and sit in front of a prospect virtually and acquire these customers today. It's a little bit more expensive. So we want to find out what our repeat customers are looking for and sell into that existing demand. You want to actively foster loyalty. For example, if you've ever been to Nordstrom, Nordstrom has an excellent insider program. They are a very interesting company because what they want to do is they want to keep your dollars in their store. They have an interesting return policy. If you are a Nordstrom customer, you can essentially return anything. What they do is they make sure that those dollars remain in the store. So they will issue you a gift card. They won't provide you with a cash refund. They'll issue you a gift card and they'll capture your information. They'll continue to market to you. They'll provide you with what are called Nordy notes. So these are essentially gift certificates to keep you coming back, to keep you in the store. And the longer you stay in the store, the more money you're going to spend. So if you can foster loyalty in that way, whether it's virtually or in person, or if you take a hybrid approach, you can certainly foster that loyalty, generate that recurring revenue, and build out a customer base that's going to continue to work with you over a very long time. You also want to go the extra mile to make customers feel special. Again, if I'm in Nordstrom and I don't have my receipt, they make me feel special. They don't ask me 1,000 questions about why I'm returning this particular item or when I purchased the item. They have my information available. They can pull me up in their system. They know how much money I've spent this year, and they'll make the return. They make it as easy as possible. So figure out ways you can go the extra mile to make your customers feel special. Last night we touched on creating or taking advantage of some of these review sites like Yelp or Google My Business. If you're on those particular sites and you have a profile set up and a customer leaves a negative review, address it immediately. Don't try to eliminate it. Don't try to coerce them to remove it, but address it. And that way, prospects and existing customers will see how you handle your customer service in real time and how you address issues. That builds trust, that makes people confident, that spending money with you is going to be worthwhile. So keep that in mind as you're fostering that customer loyalty. Redefine your customer care process. There are some companies that make it very difficult for you to resolve an issue. We've all experienced these challenges, whether you are trying to communicate with an airline or a cell phone company. The processes really aren't that straightforward. and we may have to go through several different channels in order to get a human on the line. If you can redefine your customer care process, make it simple for individuals to have their issues resolved, that fosters trust, builds loyalty, and it's going to increase the probability of you generating repeat business. You also want to offer your customers the luxury of choice. Give them options, give them different colors, give them different ways to make payments, whether it's credit card, whether it's a cash app situation. Give them the luxury of different choices. If they're looking for different sizes, provide that. Now we can manufacture certain things on demand. As customers order them, you can certainly manufacture things on demand. So if you are offering a particular product and or service where you can create that luxury of choice, that makes customers feel a lot more special. And we all want to feel special. So it's going to differentiate what you're offering and make you seem like a valuable provider of a particular good or service. Now, this is not an accounting course, but I do want to share something with you that has been very powerful for a lot of middle market and larger businesses. This is a way to consistently measure your growth, or constantly measure your growth. Now, I would suggest sharing this with your accountant or bookkeeper, because they look at these calculations and these ratios on a regular basis, and they can certainly make things a lot more digestible for you. I just want to share this. So growth equals margin times turnover times leverage times retention. And what that means is the margin, those are your profit margins. Depending on your industry, it could be as low as 4%, or it could be as high as 20% if you're in a service-based business. The turnover is your inventory turnover if you're an inventory-based business. If you're a service-based business, you can actually substitute that particular number with how much time it takes you to deliver that service. Leverage is any financing that you need to deliver that particular growth, and retention is your customer retention ratio. Now, the margin equals net income divided by sales. Turnover equals sales divided by assets. Leverage equals assets divided by equity. And retention is the percentage of earnings retained. Again, you can share that directly with your accounting professional. They can give you a lot more insight into those metrics. It's just something that you can use to benchmark your particular company against other companies in your industry. And a lot of individuals have found it valuable. Now, why is sustainable growth important? It's important because it helps you maximize or focus on maximizing sales. That's really the name of the game. You want to maximize your sales, but you also want to maximize your cash flow. But by maximizing sales, it makes it a lot easier for you to maximize your cash flow. Just keep that in mind. Sustainable growth allows you to focus on high margin products or services. You want to evaluate your offerings. Prior to the pandemic, a lot of us were doing very well. Some of the products or services that we're offering now just aren't meeting the needs as a lot of our buyers need them today. So if we're focusing on delivering these high margin products or services, we're saving valuable time and resources that we can redeploy into other areas of our business to turbocharge our growth. Sustainable growth allows us to focus on what's needed to match and sustain your company's sales level. So what does it take to generate a certain amount of sales? How much do you have to invest in your business to generate 250,000 in sales or 500,000 in sales? How many employees do you need to help you accomplish that? Or how many freelancers do you need to engage to help you deliver these particular products? This is something that we want to focus on from today going forward, because what we don't want to do is to overproduce and underdeliver. We don't want to be in a situation where we're holding on to inventory that doesn't sell. And we don't want to be in a position where we're producing something that the marketplace just isn't interested in anymore. And sustainable growth allows you to align your company's capacity with economic conditions and consumer trends. None of us could have expected what we're experiencing right now, but this is the new reality. By redeploying our capital, and reassessing who our ideal buyers are, we can align our company with the current economic environment. We can see where consumer trends are going, and we can see how we can meet existing demand as opposed to trying to create demand. That's what we don't want to do. We don't want to spend money on products and or services that people are just not interested in anymore. Focus on these high margin, high quality products and services. Communicate your unique value proposition. Continue to sell into your existing customer base and let them be your sales force, and through social media, refer other business directly to you. Sustainable growth is going to help you to attract and retain quality employees and or freelancers. When you have a plan in place to reinvest into your business and create a viable enterprise that's going to continue to operate even through these uncertain times, that allows you to attract and retain quality employees. There are many what I call refugees from corporate America, people who have been downsized, people who have been laid off, people whose hours have been reduced, and there are people who just said, I don't want to do this anymore, and they retired. There are quite a few people who were laid off and they decided to remain on unemployment as opposed to go back into the workplace. And these people have the skills that you need to run your business. If you can show that you are building a viable business and that you are recession resilient, you can attract some of these individuals and they can help you build your business much faster than the rate you were building prior to the pandemic. Sustainable growth makes your business an attractive candidate for financing. When you've redrafted your business plan to focus on the new reality, that's going to make bankers and lenders confident that you can repay any financing that they choose to extend. Sustainable growth increases your business valuation over time. As I mentioned earlier, you're going to exit your business one way or the other, voluntarily or involuntarily. And the higher your business valuation, the more money you're able to walk away with when you sell your business. And sustainable growth allows you to attract investors who may be interested in acquiring your business. A lot of times, business owners have worked very hard to build a business, but they have not put the proper processes and procedures in place to professionalize their business, to institutionalize their business, and to create a viable enterprise that can operate without them. If you're operating your business and you can't take a vacation without the business falling apart, it's going to be very difficult for you to sell the business. So keep in mind, if you want to use your business as a portion of your retirement plan, you want to institutionalize the business by implementing those processes and procedures, developing a sustainable growth plan so that you can exit the business profitably when you choose to do so. Now, as you're building out your sustainable growth plan, it's going to take a lot of personal energy. And what I suggest is for each of us to develop our management skills. Today requires an entirely new set of management skills than what we were used to implementing 6 months ago, 12 months ago. Many of us couldn't even imagine being on Zoom calls 3, 4, 5 times a day, every day. So by developing your management skills, it'll help you to become a more resilient and a more sophisticated business owner so that you can weather some of these storms. Since most of us are socially distancing and we're working from home, it's a great time to complete online management training. There are a variety of platforms out here that are at no cost or very low cost, and they allow us to develop new skills. And what I highly suggest is for us to take advantage of them. At PIDC, they've been offering webinars on a regular basis. If you attend a lot of these webinars, you'll learn valuable skills that you can implement immediately to help your business become sustainable and grow at a much faster rate. Establish regular check-ins with your employees and your stakeholders. It's all about communication. I mentioned that it's very important to communicate your unique value proposition directly to your customers, but you also want to establish regular check-ins with your employees. Now, these don't have to be long meetings, which a lot of us dread, but if you're just checking in, hey, how are you doing? How's the project going? How are you feeling? Is there anything I can help you with? That builds trust with your employees. That builds the connection, since many of us are unable to have physical contact with each other. And it continues to keep you on the top of everyone's mind that's working with you. So establishing those regular check-ins is very important. That also includes communicating with your vendors, communicating with your professional service providers. Check in, see how they're doing, see if there's anything you can help them with. Delegate where you can. As a manager, you want to focus on the strategy. You want to focus on building your business. Sometimes we're working in our business, but we want to work on our business for the most part. And we want to delegate those administrative tasks and those day-to-day activities that are not necessarily profit generating, but are important to the business. By focusing on those profit generating tasks, you're going to optimize your own time, make you a lot more valuable to your organization. And it's going to give other people the opportunity to step up into roles that you may not have identified for them before. We also want to become a better communicator. Prior to the pandemic, many of us have probably did not communicate the way that we are forced to do so now. Whether you are on webinars or Zoom calls, or you're taking more conference calls than before, developing your communication skills is something that you'll be able to use to enhance your personal and professional life. Companies or organizations like Toastmasters have gone virtual. It's a very cool organization to join. It's very inexpensive, and you can certainly incorporate those strategies directly into your personal and professional communication to help you become a better leader. Expanding your reading list. Some of us have a lot of time on our hands right now. It's estimated that the average CEO reads about 50 to 52 books a year. So that's about one book a week. Now, many of us don't have time to do that, but if some of these high-powered CEOs can do it, I'm sure a lot of us can make time. With the technology that we have available, you can listen to audiobooks and you can get through those in a few hours. Many of the books that I've read take about 3 to 5 hours a week, 3 to 5 hours to get through. And by reading from 45 minutes to an hour a day, you can easily knock out a book a week. Just something that's going to help you become a better manager. You'll have a wide range of things to talk about as you expand your network. And it's also going to keep you from focusing on some of the negativity that is in our media and that we're hearing in some of the conversations as we social distance and as we communicate online through social media platforms. Develop better time management skills. Since we've been home all this time, sometimes our personal and professional lives blend together. But if we're keeping a particular schedule and maintaining that schedule, we can identify areas where we can shut the valve off. If you have a hard stop at 5, then you'll stick to that hard stop, and then you can focus on the activities that are important to you on a personal level. So let's make sure we're managing our time well. We're not working for 12 to 15 hours a day. We're not taking calls at dinner time, but we have that hard stop, and we are certainly separating our personal and professional lives. Exercise regularly. It's important that we're exercising regularly for our mental health and for our physical health. It's also important for our professional health. We want to look and feel good. Running a business is challenging. It takes a lot out of us psychologically, a lot out of us mentally, a lot out of us physically. Many of us are staring at a screen all day. Just taking 30 to 45 minutes each day, up to an hour, can certainly make a difference, whether it's walking, it's cycling, or it's going to the gym. Some intense activity that you're participating in on a regular basis is certainly going to be beneficial for you on a daily basis, and it's going to help you over the long run. After all, they say health is wealth, and that's very important. Many CEOs engage in physical activity, and that keeps them sharp and allows them to be more productive over time. So consider incorporating exercise on a regular basis, and it's very helpful. You also may want to invest in a coach. There are a lot of ways to invest in a coach. Some of that includes investing time. There are a variety of organizations such as PIDC, SCORE.org is another organization where you can obtain business coaching at little to no cost. If you want to work with somebody in a more intimate capacity, there are other organizations like Vistage that you can get involved in. And you can certainly work with a coach on a one-on-one basis who can challenge you, who can provide you with best practices, and who can help you become a more sophisticated manager and or leader. Now, two of the platforms that I suggest taking advantage of to improve your management skills are LinkedIn Learning and Coursera. Each of these platforms have a variety of different courses, from management accounting to communicating as a leader. Many of them are offered at no cost to very low cost. And with Coursera, you could even obtain a certificate. So consider looking at these platforms. There are many more out there. These are just two that I've used personally, two of the most robust and the most popular. Next, you want to look at professionalizing your business. And this is not to say that your business isn't already professional, but I say this because many of us have been running our business remotely for so long that we may have deprofessionalized our business. So what we want to do is we want to redraft our business plan. What are we doing today? What is your business doing to continue to remain relevant in its particular industry right now in the midst of this pandemic? And where do you expect your business to be when a vaccine is discovered and or the pandemic subsides? Develop written processes and procedures for each role. If you have employees, you can certainly develop written processes and procedures. If you don't have them already, develop an employee handbook. That way you institutionalize your business processes. The business is a lot more professional, and it's going to make the business more valuable over time. It also helps you attract and retain the right employees. Now is a great time to formalize your legal structure. If you have an LLC or a sole proprietorship or an S corp, is this the viable, or is this the right business structure for you? Now is a good time to reevaluate your business structure from a legal perspective. And engage marketing professionals. Since your business is pivoting, or since you have decided to serve different customers, or you decided to go in a different direction, or you just want to continue to operate at a level that sustains your lifestyle, consider engaging marketing professionals to tailor the right message to your customers so that it can receive that message today during these times, because the messaging that we used a year ago no longer applies. We want to cultivate a different message, something that is going to build that trust that we've created in the past, but also optimize the offerings, optimize the way that our value proposition is being delivered. So consider engaging marketing professionals. You also want to define your company culture. Many of us are working from home, and we are operating in silos at times. It's important for us to define exactly what our company is and what it means to the marketplace and what it means to you personally as a business owner. Do you even have a culture? Is your culture, was it more formal prior to the pandemic? Has social distancing made it a lot more loose and a lot less professional? You can still define and redefine your culture today virtually and build upon that. Whether we move back into the offices, whether we develop a hybrid model or we continue to operate virtually, defining your culture is very important. Upgrade your professional advisors. You may be in a situation where your accountant never reached out to you during the midst of the pandemic. If you apply for the PPP or the EIDL, that's something that a trusted advisor, such as an accountant, should have been proactive in communicating to you. They should have been one of the first people to reach out to you to ask you if you need help with these things. If they went dark, now is the time to consider upgrading the professional advisors that you've been working with. Establish a management team. If you haven't established the management team, now may be a good time to do so if you have employees. If you're a solo entrepreneur, that's fine. But if you do choose to work with contractors, create an informal structure on paper so that the freelancers that you do bring on, they know exactly how to communicate with other individuals in your organization, whether it's just you or it's other freelancers that they may need to communicate with. And diversify your staff. It's a great time to work with contractors. Again, there are a lot of people that have been downsized, that have been laid off, that have been outright fired, and they're looking for new opportunities. Some people have suffered from age discrimination, and they're very apprehensive about getting back into the marketplace. A lot of those individuals have a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of skill, and it's a great opportunity to engage them. I would look at social media, look at some of these Facebook groups that people participate in, and you can certainly find a group of advisors, and you can find your next hire in some of these groups. Great opportunity to bring on skilled individuals that small businesses would have had difficulty with attracting and retaining prior to the pandemic. And that leads me into establishing an advisory board. Again, we're working from home. A lot of us are working in silos. It's easy for us to isolate ourselves. But what we don't want to do is to retract. We want to expand. Now is the time to expand your reach into the marketplace. You can do so through establishing an advisory board. You want to establish an advisory board to invite industry leaders into an ongoing relationship with your company. Now, that doesn't mean you have to pay these individuals, but you can work with these individuals as mentors. They can help you with obtaining business advice, and they can help to fill in gaps in your team. You may not have a marketing professional on staff or an HR professional, but you can engage with individuals who have a wealth of knowledge, and they can provide you with guidance on how you can optimize these particular areas of your business. The board will help you gain more perspective and help you obtain connections to help you succeed. Each individual that you decide to engage is connected to hundreds or thousands of individuals who are subject matter experts in their field, and they can certainly help you build your business at little to no cost. And you can start small and expand as you scale. You can start with the most important operations in your business, whether it's a marketing professional, a financial professional, or a legal professional. These people can fill in the gaps, provide you with guidance that'll help you make more informed decisions and help you have deeper and more engaged conversations with your service providers. Now, these are the individuals that you could have on your advisory board. Now, depending on your particular business and industry and interest, it's entirely up to you how your advisory board looks. But I do suggest bringing on someone with an accounting and or tax background. Now, there are accountants that are very familiar with accounting and bookkeeping, but they're not as familiar with tax. On the other hand, you have tax professionals who are not familiar with accounting and bookkeeping. And then you have individuals who are more comprehensive with their knowledge. It's entirely up to you how you engage these individuals, but you want to have at least someone on your board who understands the accounting and who understands your tax planning. Banking and finance. Extremely important to have an individual who is familiar with banking and accessing capital. Whether you want to obtain bank financing from a non-traditional lender like PIDC, or you'd like to raise equity down the line, it's worthwhile to have an individual who's familiar with banking and finance on your advisory board. HR, very important to engage an HR professional. Legal, someone who is familiar with looking at contracts, who's familiar with drawing up contracts, who's familiar with creating engagements, who's familiar with creating legal structures, who's familiar with some of the rules and regulations in your industry. A marketing professional, someone who knows how to create avatars or target buyers, someone who knows how to speak to certain demographics in the marketplace. And a strategy and or operations person. Now, this is someone who knows about management, someone who knows about business processes, how to optimize processes, how to streamline organizations. This is someone who will be able to provide you with advice on helping you scale. Now, with someone who has an accounting background, they will be able to share best practices on your accounting operations. They'll help you identify which questions you should ask your accountant. They'll help you brainstorm different tax strategies if they have a tax background, and they'll help you identify cost savings in places that you probably would have overlooked. By engaging a banking and financing professional, they'll help to educate you on different financing options. They'll advise you on becoming more bankable so that you'll know exactly which questions to ask and how you can present yourself when you are having a conversation with a lender, whether they're a traditional lender or they are an alternative lender. They'll be able to discuss the pros and cons of raising capital or taking on debt if you choose to do so. And they will help you to expand your network of capital providers. Many individuals who are in banking or they are lenders, they have an extensive network. They communicate on a regular basis with their competitors. They essentially have their ear to the streets when it comes to different products or services that traditional and alternative lenders provide. So it's worthwhile to have an individual like this on your advisory board to expand your access to capital providers. Engaging an HR professional will help you develop a compliance program and avoid any fines. There are many small businesses who have been fined because they're not in compliance with their HR situation. It's very easy for us to overlook some of these things, but the Department of Labor is serious, and you want to make sure that you're operating above board. An HR professional will advise you on hiring best practices. What are some of the ways you can attract and retain quality employees? They'll advise you on harassment prevention. We do live in an era where harassment has increased. It's very important that we have policies and procedures in place to mitigate those risks, and engaging an HR professional will certainly help you do so. And they'll be able to provide you with guidance on developing an employee handbook. If you have employees, you should have an employee handbook. Policies and procedures that are laid out on paper that you can provide on the date of hire will certainly help you to mitigate any risk and make sure that you're in compliance with the Department of Labor. And it also helps you professionalize your business, institutionalize these processes, which again is going to lead to a higher business valuation if you choose to sell down the line.
Hey, LeVar, we have a question in the chat room from Eric.
Okay, great.
He says, should/can advisory board members be people you actually do business with, or just one of the professionals or experts in that line of work? Example, your banker or a banker that's not yours.
Very good question. Yes. The easiest thing to do is to engage individuals that you are already working with. I always advise working directly with people who already know, like, and trust you. They all are already familiar with your business and maybe even your personal financial situation. So I would certainly bring them on board, bounce ideas off of them, and it would help you, again, to institutionalize your business. So absolutely, great question. And so the next professional I would recommend engaging with is a legal professional. Now, this is someone who can advise you on legal structure. Today, since so much has changed, is your current legal structure viable? You want to make sure that you are on the up and up. If you're taking advantage of the legal structures that are available to us so that you can shield your personal and professional assets, and you can minimize any adverse actions if in the event someone takes legal action against you. So we want to make sure that we are certainly protected. They will help you to develop a succession plan. As a business owner, you must have a succession plan in place. We're all going to exit the business voluntarily or involuntarily. What happens in the event that we become incapacitated or we're just able to operate the business? They can provide guidance on estate planning. Are your assets protected? What happens if you become incapacitated? Do you have a healthcare proxy in place if you become incapacitated? So these are some of the things that you'll be able to obtain guidance on. And you can obtain guidance on agreements, leases, and other business-related legal matters. So it's very important that you engage a legal professional, to have them on your board, someone who has experience with estate planning and or working with small businesses. You also want to engage a marketing professional, someone who can provide guidance on your marketing plan, someone who can help to develop your unique value proposition. Again, this is someone who is very familiar with creating these value propositions, identifying ideal buyers, and creating the voice of your company so that you can reach these ideal buyers and increase the probability of bringing them on as customers. They can also help you share best practices on engaging cloud-based marketing providers. There are so many different providers out there who are offering marketing services to small business owners. Which ones are the ones who would work best for your particular business based on the size of your business, your industry, and your target market? By having a marketing professional on board, they'll certainly help you identify who is the most viable option for you to work with in the marketplace. Great source of referrals as well. So something to keep in mind. And lastly, having someone with a strategy or operations background is invaluable. They'll help you review and optimize your business plan. They'll help you remove some of the information in that business plan that no longer applies or that's irrelevant. They'll help you add what's relevant going forward so that you can create that sustainable strategy. They'll help you identify any bottlenecks in your operations. Are you working with suppliers who just can't get the job done in a timely manner? Have some of these suppliers gone out of business, or are their product selections limited? Someone who has a strategy or operations background can certainly help you improve or diversify your supply chain. And they'll also help you to share best practices on building out your organizational structure. Who do I need to hire next? Do I need a marketing person? Do I need a strategy person in-house? Do I need a chief operations officer? Or what do I need to outsource? A strategy or an operations person will certainly help you make those decisions. Next, you want to find your community. And what that means is that many of us, again, have been working in silos. We've been working from home. We've been socially distancing. That's been challenging for a lot of us. But there are solutions. We can join Facebook groups that our customers participate in. And you don't want to just join and lurk. You want to actively participate. Answer their questions. Prior to the pandemic, I know that there were some professionals that didn't want to give away free information. But if you just can show prospects that you are the expert in your particular field and you provide them with actionable advice at no cost, that builds that trust. That gets them to know and like you and eventually trust you. And you can bring that person on as a client, or they'll refer business to you. So participating in these groups is certainly invaluable. You also want to join your industry's LinkedIn groups to see what's going on, to see how your competitors have evolved during this pandemic. How have they pivoted? How have they chosen to serve their customers? Have they decided to move from a brick and mortar model to an e-commerce model? Are they now operating at the same level of capacity, or did they increase capacity because they're serving a different demographic? By joining and engaging in these industry groups, you'll learn valuable competitive intelligence, which will enable you to build that into the redraft of your business plan so that you can build out your sustainable business model. I'd also suggest joining your industry trade association if you haven't done so. Again, that's another way to obtain business intelligence in your industry. You'll know exactly what your competitors are doing. You'll know how other companies have pivoted. You'll know what kinds of technologies your particular industry has decided to adopt. And you'll also be able to build relationships with other individuals who have similar backgrounds. There's also opportunities for you to bring on new business through referrals. There are also competitors who are looking to exit their business or they've gone out of business. It may be an opportunity for you to buy assets, whether you buy their business outright, you purchase some equipment, some machinery, or a customer list. It's a really good way to gain intelligence in your industry so that you can continue to operate and expand. You also want to join industry associations that your customers participate in. If you are a healthcare professional, you want to join those organizations or associations that your customers participate in. If you are a contractor, you may want to participate in industry associations that cater to home builders or the owners of office buildings or property management companies. It really depends on where your customers are located, but it's an ideal way for you to find where they are and to put yourself directly in front of them. So I highly advise you to get involved in these associations. You also want to participate in small business workshops, both offline and online. PIDC has been offering these workshops since the pandemic started virtually. So it's a fantastic way for you to learn best practices. You can incorporate a lot of tips and strategies that have been provided, and you can continue to operate at full capacity. You can also, as Marla mentioned earlier, take time to network with other attendees in these webinars. It's invaluable, great way to build relationships, and it can get you out of a rut if you've been stuck at home socially distancing. If you have the opportunity and the interest, I would highly suggest volunteering in your community. It's a great way to get people to know, like, and trust you. If you're participating in a cause that you believe in, you can certainly add value in many ways other than selling products and services. It's also going to position you as someone who is a sophisticated business owner, someone who is willing to give back, someone who's willing to invest in their community to make it a better place. In these uncertain times, there are a lot of people who feel like their voice is not being heard, or that people are just selfish and they are just focused on their own agenda. By volunteering, again, you can help to strengthen your own community, position yourself as a powerful business leader who is fully engaged, and some of the incidental or ancillary benefits is more business down the line. Get politically active. I know today that's a touchy subject, or it's a really hot button topic. When it comes to us as business owners, what we don't want to do is we don't want to get involved in some of these debates online. As a business owner, you want to practice nonpartisanship in public and keep your partisanship private. You want to sell to the people who want to buy what you're offering, and you don't want to turn anyone off because of your political beliefs. But if you do decide to get politically active, I would suggest becoming an advocate for small businesses or becoming an advocate for businesses in your industry. There are a lot of different industry groups who are politically active. They're up there on Capitol Hill. They're fully engaged. They're looking for ways to speak to our members of Congress so that they can create laws that allow us to continue to operate in a way where we can serve customers to the best of our ability. So if you do decide to become politically active through your business, advocate for small businesses. But you don't have to get politically active. It's entirely up to you, but it's just another way to find your community and to build new relationships so that you can expand your network. And also offer yourself as a resource to the business media. Reporters and the financial and business media are always looking for contributors. They're always looking for stories. There are a variety of platforms out there where you can create a profile, and reporters will send you stories that they're working on a regular basis. You can reply, let them know that you're available, let them know that you operate this particular business, you're a subject matter expert, and you may be interviewed. It's a great way to establish yourself as a sophisticated business owner, a member of the community, and someone who has their ear to the ground when it comes to the effects that some of our laws have on business owners. So it's something to consider if you're willing to get outside of your comfort zone and be a resource to the media. And you may also be, it may also help you generate business. So it's just something to consider. Now, some of the resources that I suggest are Facebook groups. HARO, which is Help a Reporter Out, is the platform that I was referring to, where you can create a profile and you will receive, based on your interest, you will receive certain stories that reporters are working on. You can reply to the story, and if they select you, they'll interview you in a variety of ways, whether they quote you on a website, in the paper, in a magazine, they interview you via phone, or they shoot a quick video with you. It's a very interesting way to build awareness of your business and position yourself as a thought leader. And locally, we have the Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce. Depending on your business, that may or may not work for you. There are also there are several other chambers of commerce in the region, entirely up to you. There are also industry-specific chambers of commerce. On a larger scale, you have the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Now, again, depending on your industry and your interest, they may or may not work for you. There are costs associated with joining these organizations, but this is just to get you thinking about which organizations and associations you can participate in that's going to help you build out your network, position yourself as a viable business owner, and put yourself in a position to showcase your management, your leadership skills. Succession planning. Now, I did mention this before. We will leave our business voluntarily or involuntarily. What you don't want to do is to not have a plan in place. We've all heard stories of individuals passing away prematurely, and they didn't have a will in place. They didn't have a estate plan in place, and their assets were tied up in court, and their affairs were made public, and they were just situations that could have been avoided if proper planning was implemented. So you want to decide how you are going to exit the business. Are you going to wind the business down and sell the assets? Are you going to sell the business to your employees? Are you going to sell the business to an investor who's a financial buyer who just likes to buy businesses and use them to generate cash flow for their portfolio? Or a strategic buyer who could be a competitor in your industry who wants to buy your business to essentially grow their enterprise? So look at how you'd like to exit the business, and that's going to help you plan accordingly. Eventually, you'd like to conduct the business valuation. If you plan on selling the business and you've institutionalized your business, or you've adopted policies and procedures, you have a management team in place, you have an employee handbook, each of your employees has specific roles, and your business has structure, it's worthwhile, and the business has structure and it can operate without you, it's worthwhile to conduct the business valuation. The business valuator is going to look at a variety of factors, including the business's cash flow, and it'll help you determine a valuation, and you'll see where your business measures up against other businesses in your marketplace. Succession planning will help you prepare for the transition. And it will also help for you to review your plan regularly. What do you want to do post-exit? Do you want to just buy a boat and sail off into the sunset? Do you want to be more engaged in your community? Do you want to travel the world? By having a succession plan in place, you have that on paper, helps you identify exactly what you're going to do, and you can hit the ground running post-exit. If you haven't done so already, it's very important for you to establish a small business retirement plan. There are tax advantages associated with establishing a small business retirement plan. If you have employees and you open it up to employees, it helps you to attract and retain quality employees. The small business retirement plan is advantageous to you as a small business owner because it allows you to contribute so much more if you were a regular W-2 employee. And the small business retirement plan is just something that's going to help you optimize your estate plan. Depending on your situation, it may be worthwhile to establish a trust. Many business owners do so. You also want to identify your insurance needs. Do you have adequate insurance as a business owner? It's very important that you have the right amount of insurance in place. And all of this is going to be a part of your estate plan. And this is something that you absolutely must consult with an estate planning attorney about. Some of us can go on LegalZoom and do it yourself, but I absolutely recommend consulting with an estate planning attorney, letting them know exactly what you want your retirement to look like, taking a look at all of your assets, and developing a viable plan as a business owner to transition your assets upon retirement and further down the line. Now, if you are deciding to establish a small business retirement plan, these are just 3 companies that are very, very popular when it comes to small business retirement planning and establishing solo 401ks and group 401ks for small businesses. I don't have any stakes in either of them, full transparency. These are just popular ones. Fidelity, Betterment for Business, and Vanguard, which is local to the Philadelphia area. So something to consider: a simple Google search for small business 401k plans or small business retirement planning will bring up hundreds of different companies. Take the time out to do a little bit of research, look at some of the fees that are involved, look at some of the options that are available, look at whether these accounts are self-directed, meaning that you are responsible for all the investment activity, or you're going to work with a full service financial advisor. Really depends on your particular situation and your needs. But again, having a conversation with an estate planning attorney about your business, about your personal finances, about your professional finances, and about your insurance planning, and about how you'd like to exit your business is going to be a worthwhile conversation. And it's certainly going to help you become a better manager, leader, business owner, and put you in a very, very sustainable position going forward. So now there are a few strategies and tips that I'd like to share. Focus on the fundamentals for business growth. So what that means is managing your cash flow. Can't say that enough. On the webinar that we had on Tuesday was all about cash flow. If you missed it, it's on demand on the PID website, but focus on those fundamentals. How can I optimize my cash flow? How can I shorten the time that it takes for me to get paid? And how can I lengthen the time that it takes for me to pay my vendors? Find the right balance between existing and new business. How much activity or how much time are you spending servicing your existing customers? And how much time does it take you to acquire new customers? Engage those marketing professionals. Find out what the right balance is between the activities that it takes to generate new business while serving your existing customers. And keep your people happy. That includes your employees, and it also includes your customers. Make sure that you're communicating on a regular basis. If you haven't established a newsletter or a blog or a video series that you send out to your customers, now may be the time to do so. Keep them engaged. There are a lot of different things that are competing for our attention, especially now that we're stuck in the house. So it's important for us to stay right in front of our customers so they don't forget about us, so they will continue to purchase from us, and we will continue to engage them to find out what they like, what they need, what they want, and we can continue to service them accordingly. Prioritize your skills. Make sure that you are remaining sharp, exercise regularly, read books on a regular basis, watch educational videos on YouTube, take those online management courses, sign up and attend these PIDC webinars. Or if you can't make the live webinar, watch the recording or on demand. It's very important that we are sharpening our skills right now. As they say, iron sharpens iron, because when this does subside, the people who did the work now are going to be the people who emerge victorious. Don't fear change. Change is the only thing that's constant. As a business owner, we experience change on a regular basis. We haven't experienced anything like this in the past, and that's okay. Because what we can do is we can incorporate best practices. We can build relationships with people from different parts of the country and different parts of the world. We can communicate virtually. We can adopt new technologies and new ideas and new ways of operating our business while serving new customers. So don't fear change, embrace it. Look for ways that you can develop and you can evolve both personally and professionally. Seek productive partnerships. There are a lot of business owners out here who just need a little bit of help. If there's a way that you can partner with other businesses, if you're experiencing some challenges or some difficulties, two businesses are more powerful than one. Figure out ways that you can create these productive partnerships if you're engaging the same customer demographic, and it'll certainly be more profitable for each of you. Prepare for disruption. We have the election coming up next week, so it may be a disruptive time, and the healthcare professionals have said that a new wave of COVID is going to hit us within the next few months. We don't know what's going to happen, but what I will say is prepare for disruption. Figure out ways, if you haven't done so, to essentially digitally transform your business. Make sure that you're using as much technology as you can. Make sure you're communicating with customers to let them know that you are available. Communicate with your employees, whether you're using instant messaging, Slack, Facebook Messenger, TalkSpirit, whatever you decide to use. Make sure that you are continuously communicating and you're prepared for this disruption. Whatever happens within the next few weeks, make sure that you remain engaged. What you don't want to do, regardless of any outcome, is to retract. You want to use the disruption to expand and to reach out and build your network and support your networks. Find out if there's anything that you can help other people with. It could just be sharing an article or sharing some information, sharing best practices so that you can help them expand their business. Making introductions. Now is a great time if you've been very active with networking, with signing up and engaging in webinars. Some of the people that you may have met can certainly use access to your network. They may want to know which accountant you use or who's the best marketing professional you think is out here in the Philadelphia area. Support your networks by sharing information, by making introductions, and just being someone who is a sophisticated business leader who's willing to lend a hand when someone is in need. Find ways to develop recurring revenue streams. If you've had transactional relationships with your customers, meaning that once the sale was over, that was it, you had to find other ways to re-engage, find ways to develop those recurring revenue streams or create a subscription-based model around a particular product or service. We see this now with a lot of different companies. For instance, you have a cell phone, you're paying a bill every month. You have the bundle, you know, your internet, your TV, and your phone. You're paying that particular bill every month. Find ways to develop recurring revenue streams in your business. It may take you moving from products to services, or creating a hybrid, or completely pivoting and creating an entirely new offering. Whatever you choose, find ways to develop that recurring revenue stream. Again, I can't say this enough. Adopt a cash flow first mentality. Find ways to measure customer satisfaction by creating surveys and continuously asking for feedback. That's going to help you refine your offering and produce products and or services that are attractive, that customers want to purchase, and they're willing to pay a premium. And also measure employee satisfaction. Find out if morale is up. A lot of people are not feeling their best selves because of what has been going on for the last few months. But let's figure out ways to engage or re-engage our employees or our freelancers or contractors or people that we continuously work with, and engage their satisfaction. Find ways to do things with them. If you do a virtual happy hour, which is very popular in different parts of the country, that may be something to cheer people up. But by measuring the satisfaction of your customers and your employees, it's going to provide you with more intelligence so that you can be a better business owner and eventually a more profitable business owner. Volunteer. Again, I can't say that enough. There are ways to volunteer virtually. If you are in the trades or if you're providing those kinds of services, volunteering for an organization like Habitat for Humanity, that's a great way to stay within the industry, position yourself as a leader in the industry, and participate in the development and the sustainability of your community. Just something to think about, but it will certainly make you a more well-rounded business owner. As a business owner, you want to get financially fit, both personally and professionally. Now's the time to build that cash reserve that we've talked about. 10% of your receivables, put that away into an interest-bearing money market account at your financial institution. That way you can weather a cash flow crunch in the future. On the personal side, if you are able to build up that 6 to 12 months of cash in the event that there are some disruptions. Many people were caught off guard. They were laid off. They were unable to generate any income to pay their rent or to pay their mortgage. Some people went on unemployment, and the unemployment wasn't enough for them to pay their bills. As much as you can, try to build up those nest eggs or those cushions so that you can weather any disruptions that you may experience in the future. Always establish a growth focus, both personally and professionally. A lot of people have retracted during this time. It's very important that you continue to grow, because as you do the work right now, you're going to emerge a stronger person, both personally and professionally, on the other side of this thing. Attend workshops and conferences. That's going to help you with your growth. It's going to help you to stay sharp. It's going to help you to continue to communicate in a professional manner. It's going to help you identify best practices and strategies and tips that you can incorporate into your business. Watch the other two neighborhood series webinars that we had on Tuesday and Wednesday. Wrap your head around the cash flow conservation strategies that we conveyed. By doing this, it's going to help you to remain engaged and help you to maintain your position as a sophisticated small business owner. And embrace your community, whatever community that is, both personally and professionally. If you're in the trades, embrace those trades. If you're involved in your community in any form of economic development, continue to participate in that. We had a conversation earlier about Center City just being a dead zone at this time. Which organizations are out there looking for ways to bring people back into the city? If you're interested in participating, now is a great time to connect with people online and asking them, what can you do? How can you be of value? And they will receive your inquiries very well, because a lot of people and a lot of organizations are looking for help, and members of the small business community are in a very good position to expand their reach so that we can help to get the ball rolling again. Does anyone have any questions? I know that was a lot of information, but we can certainly go back over something that we may have missed or we need some clarification on.
I know there must be questions. It's a lot of really, really outstanding information. Questions, put them in the chat or use the raise hand function, and Quinn will unmute your mic and you can ask LeVar directly. Don't be shy. I was taking notes during the presentation, and one of the things that I wanted to mention when LeVar talked about succession planning, we tend to think of succession as I'm gonna die and I don't want to think about death. But think of it more as what's your exit strategy? And exit strategy seems to connotate something other than death. And you should really be thinking about what is going to happen or what would you like to happen to your company that has nothing to do with death. How can you position your business for a sale? How can you position your business to be acquired or merged with another company that likes your processes, they like the pipeline, they like the work that you're doing, and maybe you bring a different spin to what the company already offers. So don't think of succession so much as death, but it's an exit strategy. And then if you are able to sell your business or merge it with another company, you can get an infusion of cash that you can then use to do the kinds of things that you thought about doing before, but maybe growing the business proved to be a little more challenging than you originally thought when you started the business. There is nothing to say that having started the business that you have to keep it for 30 years anymore. So be on the lookout for opportunities to position your company, to be acquired, to merge. So there's something came up in the chat. Let's see.
We have a question from Michael. He's asking if LeVar can show the financial slide that has the ratios.
Great. Can you find that, LeVar? You're on mute. LeVar, you're on mute. Unmute yourself.
Got it. So let's see. And can you see Q&A?
Yes.
Okay.
You see Q&A.
Let's see.
As you're looking for that slide, there it is.
Michael, did you have a specific question about this slide at all? Or you just wanted to see it again?
Oh, Michaela. That's Michaela.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
We sure can.
This
Good
was
to hear
great.
you.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if you can see me or not. Anyway, LeVar, thank you. You covered a lot in a very easy to consume way.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to see because I hadn't seen the retention part before you left. I didn't know what that was in terms of how you measured that.
LeVar, can you show your screen again?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we've obviously seen margin and turnover and not so much around leverage and retention. So can you just repeat those two again? Because the first you usually hear about, the other one's not as much.
Sure. Can you see it?
I can.
Yes.
Okay. So actually, retention is the percentage of earnings retained. So when you are generating your revenue, and at the end, at the very bottom of at the end of the year, if you have any retained earnings, then those earnings are going to be a part of that growth ratio.
And that is one of those ratios when you position your company for sale. That's one of those ratios that a potential buyer is interested has an interest. How much of your profits are going back into the business, or are you drawing everything out?
Yes, and we had a question yesterday about uh, someone essentially minimizing their taxes or not showing any income so that so they don't have to pay any taxes. But what you don't want to do is continue to show that loss, because you're not going to be able to obtain financing, and you're not going to create the business valuation that you need down the line when you're looking to exit your business. So retained earnings is certainly a component of that. And that's going to help you to continue to build as you're reinvesting those retained earnings in your business, you'll continue to build your business valuation over time. So just something to consider.
Does that answer the question? Yes. Michaela, we want to make sure you're clear on that before we get to Jeanette. Oh, wait a minute. Did Jeanette say not a question, but a comment? Financial Integrity Resources Management is able to help you with setting up retirement accounts for you and your staff. Go, Jeanette. This is the networking. So there is someone here. And Jeanette, I am so glad you raised that, because business owners often don't set up their retirement accounts, and they've drawn money out, and then it's time to retire and you can't maintain your lifestyle. So that is excellent. So Jeanette Harris is right here for those of you who have been toiling as business owners and you have not yet set up your own retirement accounts for you and your staff. Please make sure you are going to firmadvisor, FIRMADVISOR.com. Or you can just shoot us an email and we will absolutely connect you with Jeanette.
I just wanted to
Jeanette on the line right now.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I just wanted to make a comment as well. It's with regards to the retirement account, it's more providing education as to what's available and what your options are, as well as providing education to your employees, because a lot of times people don't participate in a retirement account or don't participate in purchasing benefits through their employer because they don't understand what's in it for them, or how to start, or how it impacts them, or how it's going to affect their take-home pay. And at Firm, that's what we go by. We pride ourselves in providing that education and making sure that people understand, because these are not conversations that we usually have around the dinner table. I know that, growing up in my household, my parents always had businesses of their own, and this was not a conversation that we had about preparing for retirement or moving forward. So it's just providing that education in terms of what's available. The other thing is the misconception of people needing a lot of money to start. And the reality is that starting with, just $25 or, whatever you can, it just starts building over time. And there's no better time to start than the immediate. So thank you for the opportunity to share.
No, that's great. And I will say for those of you on the line, Jeanette's company firm, the acronym is firm, they do this. So when she talks about education, they position themselves in schools at the high school level, at the college and university level, doing this all the time. So they are very, very accustomed to informing and educating people at all levels about the value of starting now in planning your retirement. It's never too early. The earlier you start, the better. It's never too late. You know, there's always something you can do, but the best thing to do is start early. So Jeanette, thanks so much. Do we have any other questions? As we're waiting
We do
for
have a question
questions,
from Sylvia.
Sylvia, you have a
She's
question?
asking, is retention only valued in cash?
Yes.
Okay, that was the answer, right?
But I also
Um,
wanted to piggyback on what Jeanette uh, mentioned. There are a lot of individuals that don't participate. So the education is very important. And as an owner, there are tax benefits for you to participate. It's a way that you can shelter your income. There are, depending on which provider you work with, you can borrow against your retirement savings. Don't recommend it, but you can certainly draw a line of credit against it. But it's a way for you to generate and to build an asset outside of your business. Essentially, it's shielded from creditors, and it's going to allow you to generate wealth in a tax advantage manner, because these are pre-tax dollars that are not touched until you withdraw the funds. So it's very important to take advantage of that as much as you can. A lot of times people don't, and they turn a particular age and they think they're going to sell their business and retire, and they find out that they've never institutionalized their business. The business cannot operate without them. They can't sell it, and they haven't built a retirement savings. So please keep that in mind. Take advantage of the tax code as it's written. It's specifically for business owners, and build wealth for yourself through your business.
Great. It's 7:01. Yeah, I just want to emphasize a couple of things. LeVar talked about the value of communications during this time, and he mentioned Toastmasters. Toastmasters is a great organization that has satellites everywhere. And of course, during this time of the shutdown and everyone is operating virtually, that is an excellent opportunity for you to hone your communication skills, your presentation skills, because as business owners, you're out making presentations all the time. And often you don't have a lot of time to communicate your value. And so an organization like Toastmasters is international. So it gives you an opportunity to practice those presentation skills. So I wanted to mention that. LeVar also talked about taking advantage of reading during this time. And I know reading seems like it takes a lot of time. Even if you're not reading complete books, there are a ton of valuable articles that you can find online. Everybody is writing something these days, and you can take advantage of a lot of the articles that are also available. So 2 or 3 pages, multiple times, are going to provide you with a ton of good information. He talked about the advisory board. Just network. Talk to someone who may even be a competitor who is farther ahead than you are. You'll find, I had a conversation just today with a company that has 5 locations, and I asked him, would he be willing to talk to a company that has 1 location and needs some help? And his response was, this is the time for businesses to help each other. And so don't eliminate the company that is in your same industry, but larger. They may be willing to pay it forward because someone helped them. Then we talked about the accountant. And for some of you on this call, you're using accountants to provide you with tax returns, complete your tax returns and file your tax returns. Your accountant can really serve as one of your advisors. And I always recommend that your accountant is a part of your team, and you should be meeting at least quarterly, if not more frequently, with your accountant. Your accountant should understand not only where you are, but the vision that you have for where the company should be. And if you get bogged down in the day-to-day activities and operations of the business, it's that accountant who should be able to say, you know what, now is the time to implement the next step and the next phase of your business. If you are not getting that from your accountant and all you're getting is someone who is providing filings for tax returns, you've got the wrong accountant. So that's something people don't like hearing. Fire the accountant, but oftentimes that's exactly what you have to do. You have to fire the accountant. So those are some of the things I just wanted to bring out and mention to you, because we see this so often. PIDC, we're a lender. We end up, as we are reviewing your application, we go through all of the information that's happening in your business to get an idea of the type of or the profile of the business owner that we're about to make a loan. So we see a lot of patterns come out of the review. And so the things that we're talking about, the things that you hear from LeVar, this is just based on experience and seeing how so many businesses don't grow. You've got a great product, you've got a great service. That's never the question. The question is, do you have the systems in place? Do you have the processes in place? Are you using the right third-party professionals to help you in your business? Those are the keys to growing your business.
We have a question from
So-
Shaniqua.
Mhm.
The question is there a place to find specific industry margins? And are they reliable for certain geographic areas?
Yes. So there is a resource called Reference USA. And if you have a library card, you can access Reference USA. And you certainly can access it from home as well. Well, let me take that back. I don't know if Philadelphia Public Library allows you to access it from home, but I know other library systems do. But again, it's Reference USA. I'll type it in the chat. Take a look at it. And there are plenty of metrics, including industry margins, through Reference USA. There's a lot of intelligence there. Of course, there's an upgraded version that you have to pay for, but the general no-cost version will provide you some interesting intelligence that you can incorporate when it comes to building your sustainable business.
And I just want to, I'm not sure if I'm on mute or not, but I just want to add that the Free Library of Philadelphia has what is called the Business Resource and Innovation Center. It is a service right there at the Free Library at the main library at 20th and Vine. We encourage you to, we encourage you to go online, schedule an appointment, and tell them your industry, and they will help identify the data specific to your industry where you can find all kinds of ratios and statistics to help you measure how you stand against the industry and how you stand against the industry within a particular area, a particular geographical area. So there are resources to help you. Are there any other questions? We're going to end. It is 7:08. We thank you for those who have been with us for the last 3 nights. Our plan is to repeat this 3-part series in 2021. So make sure you're checking out the PIDC website for those webinars that will happen next year, which is like 60 days away. And then before we end 2020, get on PIDC's website now to see the additional informational webinars that are coming up soon. Remember, on next Thursday afternoon, we are partnering with the City of Philadelphia and Rebuild in talking about contracting opportunities with that initiative, as well as how do you use and access PIDC financing to help you with those contracts. Then again, on the 3rd Tuesday of each month, so that's going to be the 3rd Tuesday in November, the 3rd Tuesday in December, and then continuing it in 2021 is our 6-month mental health series, Is It Just Me? And on November 17th, the topic is going to be the stress of structural racism and civil unrest. So we encourage you to go to our website, sign up for each individual webinar. It is 1 hour from 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. Okay, so Jasmine, Quinn, are there any questions before we sign off? Drew, we're glad that you're here with us again tonight. Anthony is here. Kelowna, it's good to see you. I'm so accustomed to seeing you in the office. Jeanette is here. Lily is here. Michaela, thank you so much. Sylvia, any parting comments before we sign off? We're 10 minutes over.
Marla, I
If
just
not-
want to thank everyone for joining us tonight and really remind everyone to follow us on social media at PIDC Phila so that you can keep up to date with all of the events and resources we have for small businesses. We look forward to seeing everyone the next webinar.
Next webinar. LeVar, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just want to say, please take the information in, digest it, incorporate it into your business, and really position yourself to be a much more sophisticated business owner when this does end, because it will end, but we have to do the work now.
It will end. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Look forward to seeing you real soon.
Good night.
Bye.